Hey, it's your old buddy Mark Hicks, formerly known as Jack Hicks. I'm still known as that. Actually, that's my professional name. And the reason I have a professional name, I still use it in my voiceover career. I used to work in radio for a lot of years, and that name was given to me, was gifted to me. You know, kind of the way a dog is being nice to you and is gifting you his presence by controlling you. That's kind of what the gift was. So I didn't really choose that name. Of course, I didn't choose my original name either. But anyway, Mark Hicks, your old buddy. And I got that from Casey Jones. I used to watch on Channel 11 TV in Minneapolis, New Brighton, actually. And hey, gang, it's your old buddy, Casey Jones. And Casey would come on with Roundhouse Rodney. And they were so cool. That was such a good Casey was so good. He was such an entertaining guy, and Rodney was too. Rodney was a fitness guy. He'd do push-ups. Rodney's going to show you something right now, and he'd crank out 20 push-ups. And I saw both those guys in person at different times. I saw Casey at a town carnival in Mounds View when a band called the Psychedelic Sound, local band in our town, was playing there. And Casey got up and introduced him. And Casey was just great. Had his railroad outfit on, and he was such a nice guy. And then Roundhouse Rodney, I saw him at the New Brighton Ice Fishing Contest, which is a yearly event, still is probably going on as far as I know. I hope it is. And we used to have so much fun going to that. Anyway, one year, Roundhouse is going to be there in person. And so it's like, where's Rodney? Well, there he was on skates. He was just skating around. He just made the most of his time. I'm getting paid $150 to do this gig, and I'm going to make it worth my while by getting in some exercise, the number one priority I have in life. Anyway, it was great. Those guys were great, and hey, I'm happy to be here. Let's get right into the thing today. So this is something. If you're a student and you're struggling a little bit in class, if you're a grandparent, you want to help your kid do better. If you're a parent and you're trying to figure out how can I get my kid to get some better grades, there's usually a reason behind why your kid is not getting good grades. And I can give you my reason why I didn't and how I turned it around. And it's a very simple way to turn it around, and I guarantee you this will work. In fact, I'm going to put the guarantee that I use on all of my videos, this one and the other one, this is number 2. And that is, I will buy, if it doesn't work, I will buy you a steak dinner, provided that we meet up in person randomly. You don't chase me down. You don't show up at my house or anything. You don't call me. You don't track me down on Facebook. None of that stuff. We run into each other organically, like I'm walking down the street in Dallas. And you go, hey, aren't you the guy that did the video about how to get your grade from a D to a B? Yeah, that's me. Hey, didn't you say something about a steak dinner? I go, yeah, I did. So I will buy you a steak dinner if that's the case. So the qualifications, the requirements are, it has to be a random meet. Can't be, you can't track me down. 2, I get to choose where we go for dinner. And I will be there as well. I'm participating in the event. That's three things that have to happen for that to work. By the way, I'm going to be in Dallas next week, and I'm sure they got some pretty good steak places there. And I'm thinking I want to have a good steak dinner when I'm in Texas. So if you happen to bump into me there, hit me up. And by the way, limit of one steak dinner per video giveaway if it indeed comes to an actual giveaway. So those are the rules and the stipulations. I have a right to refuse anything at any time. No, I wouldn't do that. I won't refuse. Okay, so here's the deal. How do you get a student, or you as a student, to, let's say you're getting a D, you're barely passing, and it's like, boy, I wish I could, if I could just turn this around and get a B, that sure would be great. But you can do that, and I did it, and it wasn't very hard. And so let me set the background just a little bit of what kind of a student I was and how I got into that position in life. So I went to Catholic school, and I was really good at a couple subjects. And I was also a terror. I mean, I was the kid who disrupted class constantly. I'd lip off, I'd laugh, I'd yell at kids. I was just annoying, and I didn't even realize it actually. I was just having fun in school, but I was really good at reading. My mom read to me when I was a little kid, 3, 4 years old. She used to come in, I'd be in bed, and she'd sit on the side of the bed and read me Grimm's fairy tales, and Hansel and Gretel was just my favorite story, and I just loved it. Anyway, I believe my mom was the one that actually gave me the gift of enjoying reading, which I still have to this day. I mean, and it's a gift that saved me all these years too. I mean, as much as I didn't accomplish in life, I was able to salvage by being a good reader and enjoying reading and finding my way out of my problems I read a thing, Les Paul, a great guitar player. They asked him, "Did you ever go to college or anything?" He goes, "No, no." "How'd you learn all that electronics?" Because he was inventing the solid body guitar and inventing like effects units that are used in recording studios nowadays. And he goes, "I was a reader. I just read, still do." I'm the same way. So that was pretty cool. So anyway, I was a great reader and should have got straight A's. They gave me B's because I was screwing around so much, I believe. I mean, that's my take on it. Because I should have got an A. I was the best reader in the school. I was the annoying one that when you read out loud, I was the guy sitting behind the guy that couldn't read. The dog. The dog is coming. Hicks, shut up back there. Let him figure it out. So that's, where I was at with that. So, but I was good. I was good at reading. I was that kid. I was the best reader in the class. And so I was also very good at music. And I could, my mom bought a piano on G&H, I think they were called, gold bond trading stamps. My mom bought a piano on gold bond trading stamps. I'm talking a full-size console piano, a nice one, still in the family. My sister's got it. And I remember the day she got it, and the day I came home from school, and there it was, that piano. I started monkeying around on it, and I learned how to play Little Drummer Boy. Doon, 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 left hand, doon. I was using both hands, too. Down, the melody, doon, doon, right hand, doon, doon, dun, 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 doon, doon. So my mom comes home from work. I go, "Hey, Mom, look what I can play." And she goes, "Oh, my God, we got to get you into piano lessons," which in some ways might have ruined my musical career. I didn't really enjoy the lessons that much. It was reading, and I cheated like everybody that takes piano lessons does. I was basically using the fingering to figure out where to hit the notes. But still, I learned a lot about music. I learned how to read music, which was a valuable skill for me now, being a guitar player and all that. So anyway, so I had those two skills. So reading, right? So I was the best reader in the class. I was probably the best musician in the class as well. And I asked the teacher one year, and it must have been about third grade, I'm reading, and we're in reading class. We actually had a reading class. And I'm looking, and there's quotation marks appearing all of a sudden. I'm like, what's that? I haven't seen that before. And so, yeah, they're always annoyed, No question is dumb unless it's from you. So I go, I've noticed in some of the things that we have now that there's these two little marks that sometimes go over a phrase or sometimes a full sentence, one on each side. What does that mean? And here's the answer I got. She goes, "Hicks, if you would have paid attention last year, you would have learned that those are quotation marks, indicating that it's somebody talking. It's a quote, a quotation of somebody saying the words. That's what that means." And, now that I've had time to think about it, it didn't appear the year before because I would have spotted it. Like I say, I was a good reader. I wasn't good at every subject, but I was a good reader, and I would have remembered that one. I remembered everything. And not only that, nobody in the class said a word. Not one person in the class said, "Yeah, Hicks." It was more, I could just feel it in the class where they were all going, "Yeah, I didn't really know that either." So then in music class, we had a final test in music. And the final test was you had to stand up. You had to select a song out of the singing book that we had. You had to stand up and sing a cappella a song in front of the whole class. Well, I was about fourth in line. They're going down the row, and the first couple of people sang. They picked out. There was a couple songs in there. I don't even know what they were. I can't even think of them, but they were like 2 lines. There's a yellow rose of Texas. I'm going there to see. The end. All right. Next. There's a yellow. Oh, I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die. Done. That was all they gave you. So as I heard a couple of those, it's like, you know what? I'm going to do something a little more complicated than that. And I'm not going to wimp out like these guys. I selected a song that took up a whole page. It must have had like 6 stanzas, 6 lines of music. And so I sang that song in front of the class, wasn't even nervous, just belted it out perfectly. And the nun goes, "Hicks, why haven't you been singing that good all year long?" It's like, what? I just put on a masterful performance and I'm in trouble for it? So anyway, Catholic school wasn't about education. So I had an attitude. The rest of the years that I spent at Catholic school from that was just raising hell. I made it very difficult for those nuns to teach. And I apologize to the rest of the kids in the class. I may have destroyed an education or two. And sorry about that, but them's the breaks. It's funny, I remembered all that stuff. But so my mom gave me a choice after 7th grade. You don't have to go to Catholic school in 8th grade. You can go to public school starting now if you want. And I go, oh no, I'm going to Catholic school in 8th grade. It's payback time. I feel like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's payback time. So, that's what happened. Got a nun kicked out of the nunhood as part of our 8th grade thing that a lot of us guys know. So anyway, fast forward. Now I got out of St. John's and I didn't know how to divide. I was heading into 9th grade, which technically is high school. We called it junior high back then. And I had to take a math class. And so I took math for dummies. And we were doing stuff like reading maps. It's like, how do you get from Stacy, Minnesota to New Brighton, Minnesota? It was just like, oh, let's see, I guess you just follow that highway. It was just ridiculous. So when I got to 11th grade, now I had to, so then we had high school, 10th, 11th, 12th. I had to take another math, and they didn't have really anything that dumb that I could take in 11th grade. And it's like, well, they had practical math, which was the equivalent of math for dummies. But really what it was, for me, it was a class that taught me stuff that I didn't learn in Catholic school or any time. I didn't know how to divide. They taught it to me. Mr. Horn, fantastic teacher. Excellent. He goes, here's what we're going to do with this class. Everybody just listen up. Here's what we're doing. I'm going to start at the very beginning, and it's going to be really easy, and we'll gradually get into the more complicated stuff, and you're not going to have a problem with it at all. As long as you pay attention, you're going to be fine. And that's exactly what happened. I paid attention, and sure enough, division came, and he showed in the watched it, and it's like, oh, that's how you do it? Wasn't hard at all. So I could have done that the whole time, but because of the way my education had previously gone, I actually blame. Well, I can't blame my educators fully for that. I will take some responsibility, but it was partially their fault, I would say. The fact that they let me slip through the cracks is also their fault. So anyway, I'm in 11th grade. 10th grade, when I got in there, it looked like I might not even graduate from high school. That's how bad I was doing. Nearly failing. I failed a couple classes. I made up English in summer school. I failed Phi Ed class, if you can believe that. And that's for a totally different video and different reason. But so I had to make that class up in 11th grade, half of it, half a year they failed me for. And so I was barely making it, and what am I going to do? Well, now I had this class in 11th grade, same year that I had the math class that I was doing pretty good in, and it was American government, and it was the most terribly boring class that you could possibly imagine. The teacher was one of those Mr. Bueller kind of guys, and he was like, All right, today we're going to talk about the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court consists of 7 individuals that sit at the highest decision-making place in the land. You know, it was like that. It's like we're in there with those fluorescent lights going, barely staying awake, and it's like, I'm getting a D in this class. I'm not going to graduate. I gotta come up with something here. Graduating was pretty important, and back then it was like your goal was to graduate. That was the goal of high school. So I came up with a plan, and I put it into action, and it worked. And I volunteered recently in the last couple of years for a program called Students First, and I taught it to the kid and student. I taught it to 2 students in Students First, and they both used it, and they both had a D, and they got their grades up to a B. I'm not kidding you. It actually works. So what it was is this. I came up with a plan that, you know what, I'm just going to fake like I'm paying attention. I'm going to fake like I'm studying. Every now and then, if I happen to know the answer, I'll put up my hand. I'll make eye contact with the teacher once in a while, and I'm going to fake this guy out. I'm not going to be doing any schoolwork at all. I'm just going to fake out the instructor totally. And it worked. In fact, it worked so well that when the test would come out at the end of the week or whenever it was you got one, it's like, I actually remember that. Oh, I know that one. Oh, I actually remember that answer. I wonder why. Maybe because faking it, meant making it. I'm not really sure. But it truly, truly works. And I've proven it with 2 other kids besides me when I was in that Students First program, and it worked for them too. So if you've got a student that's struggling, barely making it, and you can't figure out why, and if you hit them up with, or if you're a student yourself, happen to be watching this, and you're trying to get your grade up because you're in the same situation I was, do it. I guarantee it. Steak dinner's riding on the line if you catch me in person somewhere randomly and not hunting me down at my house or on Facebook. And, I choose the place and I get to go with. Those are the stipulations. I'm not kidding you, though. This really will work. It'll really help. It worked. It worked for me. It'll work for your student. It'll work for your son. It'll work for you. And it doesn't even matter if you're in high school trying to pass or if you're at work trying to pull something off, and you want the boss to, maybe you're on his bad side and you want to turn it around. It's another use for it. Please try it. Write me back if you want to. You don't have to. I'm not one of these smash the like button guys. Just give it a try. I'm not kidding you. It's been great visiting with you. My name's Mark Hicks, also known as Jack Hicks, my professional voiceover job. And speaking of that, I'm going to have to get to work. I've had a cold for a couple of weeks, so I haven't been able to do the voiceover work. It's sort of like your body telling you, okay, if you're not going to back off on the work a little bit, we'll back it off for you. Your body will make the decision for you. It's time for you to slow down a little bit, for a while anyway. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Have a great day, and I hope this works for you. I know it will.